Hello, Miss Lufla
and Miss Bam Bam here.
And today we have an honor. We invite May, who is the founder of Art of MY Family. And today's our topic very special. We talk about when foods meet art. Okay, May, maybe let's introduce about you to our audience and tell me more about your year study in Harvard University.
Yeah, sure. So I was actually born in Australia and then lived in Hong Kong for quite a few years before I moved to the United States. And the reason why I actually decided to move to the States was because I realized that it's very hard to actually study art in Hong Kong because a lot of times it's not being encouraged. And I felt like the United States is a very good place for me to actually pursue that. So when I was 16, I started taking classes at Harvard University, and then later I went to University of Chicago, graduating with political science and visual arts.
Okay, great.
How does political science actually related to art?
Yes, so I'm actually very interested in Weimar Germany. And Weimar Germany at that time, they actually create quite a lot of artwork related to politics.
Right.
That's the reason why I decided to major in political science and visual arts.
What's the relevance there?
Yes.
Okay.
You have a very interesting background. So, what do you think about how does your background as the founder of Art of MY Family influence your work as a sculptor?
Yeah, so in Hong Kong actually 1 out of 5 children live in poverty, and a lot of times they don't have the opportunity to learn about art. That's the reason why I decided to start Art of MY Family. And 2 years ago I launched a program called United Nations Beat Plastic Pollution Family Day Project.
Okay.
And for that project we actually upcycle plastic bottles into artwork, and that kind of inspired me to create a series of community art events.
Yeah, that is very meaningful work. I'm sure that you put like heaps of effort, a huge effort in it here.
It's actually a lot of fun for me to contribute back to society.
That's great, that's great. Okay, today we talk about food and art. What is your philosophy in food and art?
Actually, if I want to, I kind of just want to cut in because my understanding of food and art apparently is not the kind of food and art that you're doing. So maybe you could clarify to our audience what actually food and art is when you're talking about it. Because I think a lot of people, when they talk about food and art, they're thinking of using food to turn that into art, like plating wise. So what maybe you can tell us what food and art is actually?
Yeah, there are so many ways to interpret the food and art. I know that in each artist they have their own philosophy about it. That is good. Is we can like give more information to our audience as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think first of all, I think both food and art actually bring people to have a very intimate experience. It is actually a way to bond people together, and I think that also brings a lot of happiness to people. So that's first of all, and I think second of all, actually both food and art actually bring people to travel through time as well. So I think the sight of an artwork or the smell of particular food actually brings you back to a particular scenario. So I think that's what makes art and food very special. Actually, I do want to show you some of my work as well.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. So I have decided to actually experiment food, and the reason is because food, it is a very integral part of our life, and I think that to make art more fun, to make art more accessible to people, is actually very important to use something that people understand. And one of the things I experiment with is actually banana. A lot of times after we finished eating banana, we threw them away. And 10 years ago, I actually decided to keep the peels and turn them into a curtain. It was actually quite fun. We put it in a building, and people actually go through these bananas. And besides that, I also chose chicken as a medium. The reason why I chose chicken is because as you grill it or as you actually fried it, the texture really changed. And also at the same time, I find that the packaging in a grocery store makes it very interesting. That's why I turned it into a flower pot.
Could you actually explain this, because it's like really random art piece in terms of putting raw chicken together as a plant?
Yeah, so the reason why I did that was because actually I was speaking about grocery store earlier on, and I felt like a lot of times grocery store, we take things for granted. We actually don't really think about consumerism, and I felt like chicken in a way kind of represents that in that culture. That's the reason why I put in flowers. Flower is also at the same time very delicate, very elegant, so it's kind of that contrast, I think, that makes it very powerful. Yeah. And When I returned to Hong Kong a few years ago, I found that a lot of kids actually want to learn art, but they don't get the chance. That's why I actually worked with some companies to collect used coffee beans and also used tea leaves as well. And we actually use them to dye cloth. Kids.
So this is a PMQ, is it?
Yes, it's a PMQ. And besides that, I think that a lot of times we actually neglect certain things in our lives, including chopsticks. So I actually teach kids to use chopsticks to create work that they can put at home as well.
Okay, great. I'm very interested in especially the chicken, plant, and wire. This art pieces. I found that that is a very unusual sources of inspiration, which is not coming from like very famous or artists that you're getting. You just get it on a daily basis. So I found that that is a very down to earth, and it is all related to our daily life. I found that this is a very meaningful piece of art.
Do you usually create art out of pieces that are not like wastage things? Because it seems like chopsticks, maybe these are used chopsticks, or bottles, like plastic bottles you were saying. Do you tend to go for that kind of medium?
So actually, to give you a little bit of background, I was trained in woodwork and metalwork when I was in college, and I think that was very nice. I got the chance to exhibit my work at museums and train stations and whatnot, but at the same time really want to make art accessible, because I felt like art is not really about galleries, not about museums. That's why when I returned to Hong Kong a few years ago, I decided to actually use recyclable materials to create art. And besides these ones, I actually also use last year, I actually created a show, the Chunwan Arts Festival, the Sea of Hope exhibition, where I actually work with kids to recycle glass bottles and hangers and all those car tires to actually create an artwork about Chinese white dolphins as well.
Wow, that's
that
amazing.
Music or something?
Yes, it's actually quite fun. There are several aspects. I think first of all, the reason why I chose Chinese white dolphins is because there are only 32 of them left in Hong Kong, so I really want to raise awareness of marine conservation. And second of all, I think that, you know, just having an artwork putting out there, it's quite boring. That's why I actually was very lucky. I worked with French and American dancers and musicians who actually create a piece together, and all of us, including the audience, become part of the performance.
Wow,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, your I would say unusual source of inspiration come from music, come from the dance, and come from the natural
Which
environment.
is all art form, right?
Yeah, that is amazing work. And so what is the beauty between food and art?
What is the beauty between food and art? I think first of all, a lot of times, I think no matter you're an artist or you're a chef, there's kind of like a ritual going into the space, creating artwork. And I think it is, every moment is actually very special for us. I think that's the first thing. I think the second thing between food and art is that it also brings you back into different time and spaces, relating it to people around you. And I think the last thing is that I really want to make artwork very down to earth. And I think no matter it's food and art, they also actually bring out that element.
Okay, great. There is a question that I really want to ask you. What motivates you that you want to promote food and art to the public? There are so many topics in art. What motivate you to do that?
What motivated me? Actually, my background is a little bit interesting. Besides, after I graduated from the university, I actually worked at an investment bank as a trader, and then I worked at a food startup. At that time, I actually saw that a lot of food is being wasted in a lot of venues, and I felt like, you know, is there anything we can do more? So I actually worked on food recycling and wood recovery with a lot of NGOs. At the time, I was like, okay, why don't I actually combine my passion in art and also my background in food recovery and actually look into that. That's why I actually started to create a series of food and art. And now, as I become a full-time artist and started Art of My Family, I also organize a series of community art events related to that.
Is there any difficulties as you're doing that?
It's not easy when I actually kick-started it. I actually need to talk with the social welfare department and also work with a lot of NGOs to give them a better idea. Right. I also actually want to study a food hygiene course at PolyU as well, and I think that kind of helped me to prepare it a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I heard that you are like doing a series of art projects. So I'm sure that you want to promote art in food and art, especially like in the long run, correct? And what do you think this concept will benefit to our future generations? Like generations that they only like play with phones, instant message, and things like that. Why do you do that? Do you think that will benefit to our kids?
I think it is very important for kids to actually really care about marine conservation, especially water is actually a very essential element in our lives, and I felt like, by bringing them awareness of using materials that, the seafood shells and things like that, that can actually make them care about the world a little bit more.
I know this time when you talk about shell, water, I know that you especially create an art piece for today's topic, because we are very lucky that we finished the interview with the Japanese restaurant, and then you also create an art piece, and then you also do it together with the children. Do you mind to show us the art piece,
sure.
and then
maybe we can explain a little bit about it?
Yeah, for sure.
So I see like this fantastic piece of artwork here. I heard that you used upcycle materials from the restaurant to make it, right? Could you maybe tell us a bit about it?
Yes, so this art piece is actually called Mizu, and Mizu means water in Japanese. I'm actually very inspired by the ancient Chinese character shui and create this artwork. And thanks to the restaurant Kaika, we have actually upcycled seafood shells to turn them into art. We have used abalone shells, and we've also used scallops. And here, together with kids, we created this artwork.
That's very nice.
Can I touch it?
Yes, for sure.
Break it.
A little bit
No.
careful. Yes.
Wow. So what makes you to think about to use this as a background?
Yes, this is
it's
actually...
like kind of bamboo material,
correct.
right?
This is actually a bamboo weaved basket, and back in the days, the Japanese actually used that in farms and around, actually along the seashore to collect food, and I thought, it's a very good way to actually combine food and art together.
It actually goes very well together with the shells as well.
Yeah.
You always say that the food and art always recall a memory, yeah? For me, this one, I mean not the Mizu, yeah, but this bamboo that reminds me that I always go to Shangwan to see the doing the salty fish and put it under the sunshine.
I think they use the same thing.
Yeah. Last things, which is you and me, maybe everyone or all the artists, they really into art, and then we know that how good that art can provide benefit to our children, but there's a one decision maker in the family with the parents. So what can you do more? What is the suggestion or solution that the parents can encourage the kids do more arts or motivate them be creative?
I think it is very essential for us to actually make art both fun and simple. Things like plastic bottle caps and things like that can actually turn into art. You can actually put them onto cards and turn them into birthday cards, and or even chopsticks that I talked about earlier. You can paint them. A lot of fun things you can actually do to get kids involved with art.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest problems like parents might face is that they don't obviously have your kind of creativity, so they might be kind of lost in, okay, how can I be promoting this at home with the kids? I think that could be an issue for the parents. What do you think?
I think that, parents nowadays are actually quite open-minded, and I think it is, as they actually get more involved playing with the kids, they actually get more creative ideas as well. Because I actually know some parents who are not artists themselves, but they turn, milk boxes and all those things into artwork as well.
Right. I'm just thinking, because some parents might be reluctant to let the kids play with wastage or like food wastage, that kind of thing. So perhaps there's a better message that you would want to bring to the parents as to like how actually food and art is very beneficial to kids.
Right. And I think relating to the message that I had earlier is that no matter it's food and art, we actually really want people to care about them. That's why I think the importance of food and art is actually having people to not waste food,
right.
and if there's any wastage, try to turn them into art and make it fun.
Yeah, that would be great. Okay, I think
it's been very informative, I think.
Yes.
And thank you so much for clarifying to me what like food and art is. And I think a lot of people, not just me, could be quite confused by the idea.
Yeah,
right.
And then you bring out a very positive message to the parents and family. What is food and art? So when food meets art, that is the good thing for us, all of us in the world. Okay. Thank you so much for your time, May. Yes. Okay. I think it's time for us to say goodbye. Yes. Okay. We wait for it. Bye. 今日咧，頭先我哋做完訪問之後咧，我哋好肚餓，係啦，我哋好高興咧邀請到我哋嘅 Chef Akira 啦，同埋有我哋嘅特別嘉賓。今日咧嘅特別嘉賓就係Yeung，佢係Art of My Family 嘅 founder， 同埋有兩位嘅小朋友，你哋介紹下你哋自己先。我係 Martin and Gordon， 好，我哋而家邀請我哋嘅大師嚟示範教我哋做呢個手卷。呢個手卷係咩名餡啊？
呢個係普通嘅青瓜雞蛋手卷。
哦，但係個青瓜同普通我哋屋企整嘅青瓜好唔同嘅喎。係
啊，呢個因為我哋要切片啦，然後再切翻絲嘅。切片再切絲。咁我哋首先左手係唔使濕水嘅，咁揸住咗翻紫菜啦，咁你右手執翻水，攞一嚿嘅手指塊放落去上身。都幾大嚿喎！呢嚿飯度。係啊，因為你做翻有個形狀咁大度啦，斜角啦。
使唔使45度角啊？
都要㗎。都
要，哇！好講究。我冇帶尺嚟添啊！
唔使用眼，你可以望到。用
得眼啊 ！OK， 我嘗試下。跟住最後尾呢個做咩動作啊？
黐翻埋。
哦，咁就唔會彈開啦，原來。
咁就完成啦。
好啊！不如大家一齊試下咯，好嘛？好，大家洗一手啦，係咪？好，你，我哋試下先。嗱，你哋整，我就負責食。嗱 ，Miss Bang，
我哋可以攞咗呢個飯先，加完先。
手收拾咗先。
咁 Gordon 同埋 Martin， 你哋最中意食啲咩海鮮呢？
我哋中意食魚。啲飯好好味啊！你好肚餓咧？唔係啊，即係有調教味道落去。係啊。
我細佬快濕下水先。咁你哋平時喺屋企會唔會整嘢食㗎？會整啲咩啊？咁樣餃子。
咁犀利，餃子都識整？係咪媽咪教㗎？
係啊。45度角喎，Gordon，哇好準確啊你，啱啊，係啊，好犀利，我想讚你嘅啫其實。
要合真人啦。
係啊 ，Ufa 係咁啊，
好有天分。
係啊。
咁小明師傅，你可唔可以講下呢個蛋有咩特別咧？
個蛋係用咗有蝦肉啦、魚肉啦，打勻然後再加雞蛋拎去焗嘅。
我估你可能要多少少黐。
啱啊，做得好好啊！如果俾你揀咧，你嘅手卷裏面會再放啲咩落去啊？
三文魚子。
三文魚子。
因為其實我都好食嗰個。
OK。
嚟啦，一人得，再落個。係啦。
多少少飯好似好啲。
攞唔到啊嘛，隻手。
OK。其實你覺得咧，Gordon啊，你當中整嘢食嗰陣時咧，有乜樂趣？你中意嗰種感覺係點樣？
點啊？
係家嘅感覺係嘛？
自
己整又好開心咁樣，一路整又一路同爹哋媽咪傾下偈咁樣係嘛？可以。咁你中意喺屋企食飯啦，定係出街食啊？屋企啊？點解咧？
屋企啲嘢好食啲。
係嘛？咦，呢個係咪少咗個 step 黐一
黐唔得夠手？
黐，哦都好靚喎，其實都。今日有咩感覺啊，Martin？你又今日整手卷嘅時候，好大壓力啊？係咪？唔係，冇乜感覺啊。如果俾你揀咧，你想裏面個手卷再會加啲咩材料落去咧？點解咧？
因為我覺得佢
幾好食係嘛？我又想問下你望住嗰件藝術品，我要你用一樣材料係好配合呢件藝術品嘅，咁你哋會揀咩啊？金色啊、蝦啊、碎花啊咁樣嗰啲咁樣，你哋會用咩咧？
唔知喎，薯片用。
薯片？
唔係
碎隨便用。哦，你咧咩？
薯片係大啲嘅。
係薯片is good idea。咩你會點啊
？scallop 因為 scallop 個白色咧會喺個金色嘅器面嗰度襯得特別靚。
我覺得櫻花都幾襯喎。如果加啲櫻花粉，得唔得啊？廚師合唔合格啊？我哋？
我非常之合格。
好啊！
專業啊！我應該冇嘢做
唔敢咁講。好啊！今日我哋咧好高興啦，再請到 May 啦 ，from Art of MY Family， 同埋兩位嘅小助手，最緊要我哋嘅大廚師小明廚師，咁咧做出一個咁靚嘅同埋咁好味，哇！好食啊！今日嗰個
你食咗我未食過。
So yummy! I love it！ 好多謝各位，我哋下次再見，我哋同觀眾講聲再見啦，好唔好啊？好，拜拜。